Hello, everyone. Good morning to you all, and welcome to another promising session. I'm so sorry for what happened this morning. I had technical issues, and I had to call the engineers in to come and sort things out, but they were able to do something temporary for the meantime where they are still working on it anyway. So we might likely be having some interruptions along the line. So, welcome once again, and let's dive right into the business. And as usual, the first thing we normally do here. So, let's quickly run through how we start in the session normally. So, for those who are joining us for the first time, you're highly welcome on board. And what we simply do here and in this community, hold on a second, I'm just trying to sort this one out. Okay, so our purpose here is to come together as a community, gathering in anticipation of both the New York and London trading session. And during this time, we will be reviewing and managing. If we do have current positions running, we are going to be looking at how to manage them, while we also aim to position ourselves strategically for today's trading session. And what we do here is a backdrop of the weekly analysis I normally share during the weekend. So for this week, we have 4 financial instruments that we are going to be monitoring, which are the USDJPY, the GBPUSD, the USOilSPOT, and of course the XAUUSD. So we already deliberated on this during the weekend. We've had an holistic point of view where we are positioning ourselves ahead of the week. So this live session is more like a follow-up detail to that video. So for you to understand and have a background knowledge, because basically what I will be doing here on the 1 hour time frame is to deliberate on the 1 hour time frame and do follow-ups. So if you want to have an idea of how we got to the point where we are in on the 1 hour time frame, it is very pertinent that you watch these videos I shared during the weekend, as this will give you a top-down analysis, and it will also help you to be able to make your independent decision using the information you have gathered there. So I have the link to the videos right in the description box of this current video. So I implore that you watch them after the live session so that you can have a better understanding of how we got to the point we are in right now in the market. And they are duly timestamped so you can easily navigate to whichever area of focus that is of your interest. So with that being said here, I will be diving right into the business for today. And before we kickstart the session, you all know how we do it. We always want to ensure we keep tabs with the fundamental aspect of the market by checking the economic calendar. And we all know how important the economic calendar is for us in this community. These fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movements. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns. And what we normally focus on are high impact events that will be affecting any of the pairs that we are monitoring. So we want to be looking out for high economic data coming in from the US docket, the UK docket, and of course the Japanese docket. So now looking at the economic calendar for this week, after filtering out the high impact event here, we do not have any economic event for today to look out for. So the first high impact event for the week is coming up tomorrow, and that is from the Japanese economic docket, which is the monetary policy meeting minute, which will be published. And especially for a day like this, which happens to be the first trading day of the week, I always try to filter in the medium impact event to see if we could see something from any of these economies that we are looking at. So let's do that quickly and see what we have here. So I will include the medium impact event, basically because today is the first trading day of the week. So we want to see if we could have some catalyst in the market that majority will be looking forward to. Okay, so today is just bland, as you can see here. We have economic event from the hero, but since this is not part of what we are looking at, so we are just going to be ignoring the economic calendar today and focus basically on our technical skills to identify trading opportunities and as well position ourselves or manage our existing trade. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business for today. And as usual, please, I would like to know if my voice, my audio is clear enough. There are no distortions whatsoever. Let me know in the comment sections, as this would also help me to get a feedback to make things better for you too. So if you can hear me clearly and you can see my screen, please let me know in the comment section. I would really appreciate that. And for those who was able to be on standby to wait for the beginning of the session, well, thank you very much for being around. I see you, Ayodeji Oluleye. I see you, ITK, and I see you, Mansuru Hassan. Well done, guys. So let's kickstart this session by diving into the USOilSPOT. So I will be making this as quick as possible if you don't mind. So I will just run through because I have another session in about 40 minutes from now. So I need some time to get prepared for that one. So the first instrument we are going to be looking at this week, as usual, is the USOilSPOT. Now on the USOilSPOT, just make sure you have watched my video on the USOilSPOT. I did a lot of explanation on the 4 hours time frame. So I basically be looking at the 1 hour time frame here. So on the 1 hour time frame here, this is what I was able to do. I was able to acknowledge that price action has been bullish since last week's trading session, as you can see here, and to emphasize the strength of the buyers on the 1 hour time frame, we have an ascending trend line after connecting the series of higher lows. And in fact, we have a couple of trend lines here to emphasize the bullish momentum. However, when we zoom into the current structure, which I already updated this morning on, if you're on my public platforms, you will have gotten this highlight here where we were able to notice a bearish gap at the beginning of the week, which gives us a sign that there was trading activities during the weekend, which is more of selling the USOilSPOT, leading into that bearish gap that you saw here. So the week started right around the $71.45 level, just around that area. Started with a very strong bearish impulsive move to the downside, and as soon as price action got into that level at the $70.85 level, we begin to see some buy pressure resume around that area, bringing price back into the $71.45 level. And it was at this point we were able to spot a channel to work with for this week. So we have our center of focus, at least for the first half of this week, right within the $71.45 level and the $70.85 level. Now, you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We want to wait patiently for structures to mature, where price will either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And in fact, I shared a commentary this morning. I would like us to run through that commentary. So I shared it on my TradingView and my Telegram platform. So we are going to be looking at that on the TradingView platform here. So that we can be on the same page. So I shared this morning here. I said here that we can see a bearish gap indicating the direction of trading activities over the weekend. The price movement is currently within a range, and it is still above the ascending trend line we identified in the 1 hour time frame. This suggests the possibility of bullish momentum, particularly if there is a breakout retest of the new resistance line for the week at the $71.45 level. However, if the price breaks down, retests the new support line for the week at the $70.85 level, it could trigger a bearish movement and also result in the breakdown of the ascending trend line. So if we go back into the live chart here, so if you look at the chart here, I showed you here that we are going to be having a buy stop order above the $71.45 level. And the reason why we are going to be doing that is simply because price action still remains above the bullish trend line. Now, the bullish trend line we identified earlier still holding right now. As long as price action remains above this bullish trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position, while we also look out for more opportunities to maximize the potential of this bullish move. And with a buy stop order above the $71.45 level, we already have a buy position triggered at this particular point in time. And if we look at what we have, price action is currently running with about 30 pips in profit at this point. So we want to wait patiently and see how price action will be reacting above this level. For the sake of being conscious, considering the fact that the wick is still very early, we might want to move our stop losses to the entry point right now to secure this current buy position. And let's wait out and see what will really go on around this area. Now, to further maximize this bullish move here, we have our key level. Remember, if you had watched my video, you would remember that we acknowledge the $72 area as a key level we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for this week. And we said if price action breaks out, retests that key level, we definitely want to be looking out for structures and patterns that will be supporting an opportunity to buy. So because of the situation we have right here and price action remaining above our bullish trend line, I'm of the opinion that we can also have a buy stop order above the $72 area. You know, we have moved our stop loss on this first position to the entry point, and let's see if price will break out of that structure. And if it does, let's see how well we can maximize this bullish move to the upside. So on the US All Spot for today, we still remain bullish on with the current situation we have here. So let's see how price action plays out going forward. And trust me, I will be with you, of course, in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. And in fact, I was able to include another public platform based on a very good friend of mine, who is amongst us, who introduced the Discord platform to me. So I've already created a channel for us there too. So I'm still trying to understand the nitty-gritty around how it works. But once I do, I will be doing some publications there too as well. So that is that on the US All Spot, buying the US All Spot. And you know how we do it in this community. In as much as we have the buyers in mind, we also want to keep tabs with the potentials of the sellers too as well. And if we look at this current market structure, what is it that we will see here that will make us change our buyers from bullish to bearish? Now, with the situation we have here, for us to consider selling the US All Spot at any point in time today, we want to see price action break down this trend line. So if we have this trend line broken to the downside, followed by continued selling pressure below the structure, then at this point we want to start considering selling. And remember, we also have another trend line here, which if it breaks down that trend line too as well, we look out for more opportunities to sell. At this point in time, things are not looking bearish right now, but we are just saying this just in case we have the situation happen. So what we are going to be looking out for to sell at this point is to see price break down the trend line. Then if it breaks down the trend line here, you will see it has broken back below the resistant line at the $71.45 level. Then at this point, we scale down into our lower time frame where we want to look out for signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the resistant line. And this would reflect on the chart like a retest of either the trend line or the $71.45 level, where continued selling pressure will welcome the opportunity to sell. And if that continues, then a breakdown of that trend line at the $70.85 level will trigger more opportunities to sell the US All Spot. So these are the ways we are going to be looking out for selling opportunities here. So, but as long as price remains above that resistant line, we shall feel comfortable in the buy position. And for those who took advantage of that opportunity, I told you, move your stop losses to your entry point at this point right now. All right, so with that being said here, I can see some comments. Jonah Haruna. Oh, thank you very much for that confirmation. Mansuru Hassan, good morning to you. Thank you very much. Kinsley, hey Kinsley, how are you doing this morning? Thank you very much for that confirmation too as well. I'm very, very grateful for that feedback. So with that being said here, let's move on to the next instrument. And the next instrument on our watch list this morning is the GBPUSD. Now, on the GBPUSD, we already identified a simple setup this morning that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity, at least for the first half of this week. And let's run through what my commentary says here on the GBPUSD this morning before we go into the live chat. So on my Telegram platform and TradingView platform, we already had this. So this was my commentary this morning on the GBPUSD. So I said here, currently the price action is still confined within a range. So we need to exercise patience and wait for a signal in the form of either a breakout or breakdown before considering opening a position for the week. And considering the continued selling pressure below the key level at the 1.28500 level, the potential of selling opportunities is very likely. Now let's go back into the live chat. Now, if you had watched my video on the GBPUSD, the link is in the description box below, so you might want to watch it after the live session so that you can have a background knowledge of how we got to this point. So if you watched the video, you would recall that we had a key level situated at the 1.285, which happens to be the highest point price action was during the previous week. Remember, the previous week was a very strong bullish momentum. As you will see, price continued to move to the upside here. And then as soon as it got into the 1.28500 level, we begin to see selling pressure around that area. And one thing I said in the video during the weekend is that depending on how price action reacts to the key level at the beginning of the week will determine how we are going to be taking a position. And you know how we use our key levels in this community. It helps us to guide the idea of buying or selling. So if price action remains above our key level, of course, we want to look out for structures and patterns that will support buying opportunity. But if price action remains below the key level, you know what we look out for. We want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will be supporting a bearish move. Now, if you look at this current structure we have here, you will see that price action still remains below the key level at the 1.285, which wakes up the signal of selling the GBPUSD. But one interesting thing has happened here this morning. If you look at the structure closely, you will see how price action still remain trapped within a range between the 1.28375 and the 1.28100 level. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We want to wait patiently for structures to mature in the form of either a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And with a sell stop order below the 1.28100 level, we already have a sell stop triggered at this point. Though price action is still running in a loss, let's see how many pips loss that is. This is about minus 3 pips loss at this point in time, which is not that significant. And one thing I have noticed in the last 4 to 5 hours here is that price action has been rejecting this area. We haven't seen buy pressure around this area in the last 4 to 5, 6 hours now, which is a sign that buyers are around that area, probably in an attempt to reject the bearish momentum, probably to send price going to the upside. We don't know yet. But from the look of things right now, I'm still going to be holding on to a bearish bias despite this bullish situation we are seeing around that 1.28100 level. And in addition to that range we just identified, there is a simple trend line I was able to spot this morning after connecting the series of higher lows since last week Thursday. We have a trend line to work with, and this trend line was broken about 4 hours ago to the downside, and you can see price action still remains below that trend line. So as long as price remains below that trend line, we continue to hold on to our bearish bias in this market. So let's see how price action play out going forward from this current structure, and trust me, I will be giving you an update as at when due if anything if anything new comes up in this market. Now, another thing that we can also consider here is the breakout. That is, if price action climbs back above the trend line, breaking out of the 1.28375, then at this point we want to be considering buying, but it will take quite a while before that happens. Let's see how it plays out from this current structure, and trust me, I will always be with you in the comment section to give you an update. So on this one, I'm still holding on to a bearish bias here. Buying here still looking very, very dicey, but let's see what happens. I will give you update as at when due. So moving on right now, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. I will be willing to be of help in that regard. So I will be moving on to the next instrument, which is going to be the USDJPY, of course. Okay. So on the USDJPY this morning, I shared a commentary on this instrument. So let's run through the commentary. Then we will come back to the live chat to talk about what we are going to be looking out for. So during my commentary this morning, I stated here that the new week commenced with a bearish sentiment as selling pressure continued and remained below our key level for the week, located at the 142.00 level. We are going to be looking at that in a moment. This has led to a transition into a consolidation phase at present, with buying pressure resuming around the 141.500. As is customary within our community, we will exercise patience and wait for a breakout or breakdown to identify potential trading opportunities. So this is this simple setup we were able to identify this morning. We have a range. We are positioning ourselves at both ends to capture any potential move to either way at this point. So going back into the live chart right here, this is the structure we have. And remember, if you had watched my video on the USDJPY, we had the key level situated at the 142.00 area. And if you look at what happened at the beginning, during the later part of last week, that is the last trading hours of last week's trading session, we saw selling pressure around this area. And we saw how sellers began the week from that same area as selling pressure resumed, pushing price to the downside. And this is giving us a sign that there is a likelihood that sellers are present around that area to negate every attempt by the buyers to break out of that structure. And we want to also take this into consideration as well. Now, if you look at what happened, price dropped. It drops into the 141.500, a very strong psychological level, considering the round figure of that price. We saw buy pressure resume around that area again, pushing price back to the upside, now giving us a situation where price is back into that level where it started the week. And this is giving us an insight into the level of indecision in this market at this point. So it's clear that the market is quite indecisive right now, as participants are looking forward to probably a catalyst that will help drive price movement. Hence, this a little bit risk averse, and also we want to also be patient enough to wait out for structures to mature. Now, you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel. We want to wait patiently for structures to mature, like a breakout of either the resistant line for an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And with a sell stop order below the structure and a buy stop order above the structure, I think we already had the buy stop triggered. Let me check my position here. Okay, so we already have a buy position triggered on the USDJPY right now, and though we are running a loss at this point, I think a loss of about minus 2 pips loss at this point. So our stop loss is going to be somewhere close to the support line here, which is about 35 to 40 pips stop loss. And so we want to see how price action plays out. So a break above of the 142.00 level is what we are looking out for. To a retest of structure will give us more opportunities to maximize this bullish move to the upside. So let's see how this plays out. I will be with you in the comment section to give you updates as at when due. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity, we're already in the buy position, like I said earlier. It's still the beginning of the week. Anything could still happen. So we are still testing waters here. Price action could still drop to the downside, where the whole price action structure here could transition into a double top structure, something like this. As you can see, the previous high is yet to be broken to the upside, so there's still a tendency that this could turn to a reversal pattern like a double top structure, where the 141.500 level would turn out to be the neckline of that reversal pattern. And if this is going to be the case, then we want to be seeing a breakdown, retest on our lower time frame to join this bearish move to the downside. So that is how we are going to be selling here. I told you we're already in a buy position. Let's hope that this position will continue to the upside, and if it doesn't, it takes us out, then we are looking out for selling opportunities below the 141.500. So that is how we are going to be positioning ourselves for the USDJPY today. So I wish you best of luck on this one. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be moving on to the last pair for today, which is the XAUUSD. And on the XAUUSD, we already had a commentary this morning where I told you I'm tending towards a bearish momentum on the XAUUSD, at least for the first half of this week. So let's look at the commentary quickly, and then we shall come back into the live chat to discuss how I got to that point. So this was my commentary this morning on the XAUUSD. So I said here that let's recall that we previously detected a potential reversal pattern, specifically a head and shoulder pattern in the 1 hour time frame during my video during the course of the weekend. Try to watch that video. Despite the current range bound trading activities this morning, there are indications of a shift towards a bearish sentiment. Our selling pressure is observed around the neckline of the reversal pattern. Our outlook will lean towards bearish as long as the price action stays below the neckline at the 1,955 zone. Now let's go back into the live chat, and I told you we identified a potential reversal pattern. Let's run through this quickly. So this was what we saw during the course of the weekend on this commodity here. We saw this move. We saw this impulsive move last week, giving us the left shoulder of this reversal pattern. We saw the head right here. Price dropped to the downside. We saw the right shoulder. Price was unable to break the previous high of the left shoulder, giving me a good sign that we might likely be seeing a reversal pattern at this point. And price action was back into that potential neckline we identified during the weekend. Now we had a neckline situated at the 1,955 level, where I stated in the video that we are going to be looking out for selling opportunities at the breakdown retest of this neckline. And if we look at what has been happening since the early hours of this morning, you will see I would like to hide this head and shoulder pattern as we no longer need it right now. So this is what we had here this morning. We saw our price action was caught within a range just around the neckline to give us the idea that there is a level of indecision in this market. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of flat range like this. We want to remain patient, waiting for structures to mature in the form of either a breakout of the resistant line at the $1,958.50 level to buy the XAUUSD, or the breakdown of the support line at the $1,953.50 level to sell this commodity. However, if you look at the structure, the 1,953, which happens to be the support line for this week, this is the lowest point price action has been for this week, is sitting just right below the neckline we identified at the 1,955. So if you had sell below the 1,955, still makes a whole lot of sense. So you can still be very comfortable in a sell position. So like I said earlier, I said as long as price action remains below our neckline at the 1,955, we shall remain comfortable in our bearish position as well. Look out for more opportunities to maximize that move to the downside. So on the XAUUSD today, I still remain very bearish. Let's see how price action plays out going forward, and trust me, I will be with you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates. And one other thing that I think we can use to also help us support this bearish move is this beautiful trend line I was able to identify after connecting the series of lower highs. So you can see here we have a trend line to work with. So as long as price remains below the trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our sell positions while we also look out for more opportunities. So let me bolden this one a little bit for those who would like to screenshot my screen. And let's give this a red color to emphasize the bearish tone right here. So price remains below the trend line. Let's look out for opportunities here to continue to sell the XAUUSD. However, you know how we do it here. We always want to keep our options open as possible. Very dynamic we want to be. If price action at any point in time breaks out of the trend line to the upside, that is, closes above that trend line, comes back to retest the structure. Let me give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about here. So if we do have a breakout of the trend line, price comes back to retest it, continued by pressure on our lower time frame above the trend line, then at this point we will consider buying the XAUUSD today. So let's see how things plays out going forward. So we have 4 instruments we are monitoring this morning. Very simple setup we have there, nothing complicated yet. Let's be mindful and get ready to take advantage of these opportunities that we have identified here today. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're all on the same page here. And trust me, I'm always with you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. And that reminds me, Mansour, I saw your comments this morning as regards to my plans to initiate a live chat where we shall be seeing how we trade the XAUUSD, because I think the XAUUSD seems very popular within the community. So I've already chosen the XAUUSD. So what I'm just doing right now is to look for a platform that we are going to be using to stream live this. So I already got that. I'm still fixing out some technicalities around it, and due to this new development I had, this new technical issues I have, I hope the engineers are able to sort things out, and if they do in appropriate time, trust me, you will be seeing the live session, you will be seeing the live chats broadcasted, and I will be sharing notifications on my Telegram platform to let you know that I've gone live. So let's see how things plays out, everyone. So it has been a wonderful moment with you guys. I really appreciate your time here, and let's hope for a better day. Do have a wonderful day, everyone, and looking forward to seeing you on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Bye-bye.